How's it going, everyone? Today we're going to be talking about 5 Kage units from worst to best, because this is the perfect time to be talking about this with the introduction of the 5 Kage for 2020. We got a lot of units over 2019's period of PvP, 11 total 5 Kage units in fact, so we're going to be talking about which ones are the worst to best, and then hopefully moving on into the new year we'll also have some new units that either take the place or just go along with the meta pretty well. Obviously the meta is ever changing, so it's not that these units are necessarily all bad, it's just they've fallen off in some aspects, or some of them were just complete bad, yeah. But for the most part, no, we're going to be talking about the units, all the 5 Kage units, and where their place goes, in my opinion, from worst to best. That's right, this Madara Uchiha right here, this is, in my opinion, and a lot of other people's, the worst Kage League unit in the game, just because I think that's for the most part because it's Madara, and so people can't really excuse the fact that this man is like a damage dealer. Like I even said that in my Night Guy video the other day. Night Guy, it's one thing, but people had their hearts set on Madara. They weren't really feeling the 3rd anniversary, and when this man came out, they let a lot of people down. But that doesn't necessarily make him a good or a bad unit, it's just how people view him. But unfortunately, he is pretty bad as well. So the thing about this Madara is that he has Jutsu Ceiling Resistance. That's good, but then he has the 2 health boosts, and then he has 50% damage boost against bravery, which is a lot. But if I'm mistaken, I don't think this man can one-shot 5 Kage League Minato. And at the time of him being introduced, 5 Kage League Minato was so annoying. I mean, he still is to now, but he was really annoying even back then. And people were trying to kill him off, and Madara couldn't even one-shot. To my knowledge, from what I remember, he couldn't one-shot Minato. But that's probably because they also made him a vast range, which I don't know why they did. They should have just made him like a medium range and made his damage multiplier go up. And then when you take a look at his jutsu, all it does is apply slip damage. Like what? Like, they should have made it where, okay, if they're gonna give him a bravery boost like that and make him a vast range, they should have just made it where his first jutsu at least does more. Like, give him something other than just slip damage. Slip damage is the worst status element you can inflict on PvP, because it's irrelevant, really. It really is, because a unit will either switch out or usually dies off before the slip damage can even do anything, so it's irrelevant. Obviously, you know, 80% chance though, it's gonna land most likely, but that doesn't really matter. And then his ult, of course, is the Susanoo, but again, all it does is give him slip damage. Obviously, 2 AoE jutsu are really good to have, but because he's a vast range, his stats weren't that high, so it's just like, yeah, this Madara is kind of bad. He really is. He had the potential to be good, but they just mucked it up when it came to the jutsu. Next, we have Pain himself, Tendo Pain right here, and it's really a shame, because when this Pain came out, he was kind of underwhelming. At that time, I think that's when all the 500 pearls nonsense was going on, and so everybody was focused more on the 500 pearls than this man right here. And at the same time, when he came out on global, they actually took PvP away, so you couldn't even use him, and by the time they put it back in the game for global and then JP, it was already on to another unit, so he kind of got shafted in that aspect. But again, that doesn't necessarily make him a bad unit. It just explains why a lot of people do not care for this and Madara, because they kind of not really market it, but like they put him in the game and it wasn't successful and at a bad time. But when you look at his abilities again, we got 2 abilities for health, and whenever you see that on a unit, you know it's bad too, because they could have just spent the time to give you 1. They could have gave you 10,000, 15,000. They could have just gave him 25,000. Like what was the point of that? So I'm obviously just looking through the encyclopedia, so they're not going to have max stats or anything. But then he also gets a ninjutsu secret technique boost of 5,000, so that's not bad. But the heals, again, healing for PvP, I don't think they need it. I really don't personally think that they need it, and that's what's bad when it comes to this. So when you look at Pain, he has Almighty Push for 3, which is really good. It's a step up from Madara when you take into account 3-6 chakra. It's not bad, because think about it, like with a heart attack boost that we might have now, this Pain could be viable at times, but we're going to be looking at all these 5 Kage units subjectively just at any point without taking boosts into account. So there's that. But all his first jutsu does is restore health. That's it. That's it. It's 5-time attack. Now, he is a short range, so he is going to hit pretty hard. I will say that his first jutsu hits pretty hard, and his ult as well. It also draws everyone near, kind of like Anniversary Sasuke, so that's not bad. You could pair it with other units, but the problem is all it does is give him more health back. That's it. What if you land health recovery ceiling? He doesn't have any protection against that. He's done then. At that point, his jutsu don't do anything. But because he's a 3-6 chakra, there has been many times where I've been hit by an ult but by himself as a Kage League unit, I don't think he has enough to place him any higher, because really 3-6 chakra is really good, don't get me wrong, but there's better units out there than this. And yeah, Pain kind of gets left in the dust for sure. And his field and buddy skills, similarly to Madara, why I didn't really look at them, they kind of just like either boost your attack or give you something like that. Obviously his buddy skill's not that bad because it reduces the chance of receiving switch function ceiling, but I don't want to say that you should waste putting him on the team just for that. So Pain is going to be right here at number 10. Next is this Sasuke right here. Now I personally think this Sasuke is better, and again it all comes down to the jutsu. So first of all, this Sasuke gets 7,500 health, so he can have a lot. Obviously Pain was meant to be a tank, because if you get Pain to max health, he'll have like 70k health, which is pretty insane in my opinion. But with this Sasuke, obviously he wasn't meant for that. This was the second Kage League unit ever put in. It was obviously a shy move away from Sage Mode Naruto, who was way better in my opinion, but he does have that. He has the attack boost. The chakra reduction, I feel like that's not helpful nowadays for sure. Obviously when this unit came out, it was a little helpful back then because we didn't really have that much resistance. And then nullifying damage reduction is obviously very important, but the abilities are still slacking. That's what puts this man so low. They could have been a lot better, but his jutsu actually does something this time, which is really good to see. So his first jutsu, although he's a 4-8 chakra, it removes perfect dodge and barrier and ignores substitution, which is really good. And then it also reduces their chakra by 1 and gives you 30% damage reduction. So this is the first time we see reducing their chakra gauge on a 5 Kage unit, and that's really good obviously. So back then being able to steal that chakra was obviously very helpful. We didn't have 3-6 chakra units running around everywhere when it came to 5 Kage units, so that was obviously very good. And then his ultimate, if you could get it, was a single target, but it could roll them back on the speed gauge by a lot, which is not bad. It's not bad, but his first jutsu obviously is what puts him ahead here, because think about it, this man was able to hit AoE and still 1 chakra. Back then, a year ago, that was very helpful. We didn't see units nowadays like Naruto that can steal 2 chakra and stuff, so that was obviously very important, and that's why this man was so not good necessarily, like he wasn't like amazing compared to Sage Mode Naruto, but he was a lot better back then compared to now, and he's still better than the other units that we talked about. So at number 9, I'm gonna put Sasuke right here. The next unit that we see is Itachi Uchiha. Man, when this unit came out, it was kind of a shock. People were a little disappointed about this man, and I could see definitely why, but I do think he's better than the other units, and that's because also he has incredible speed. This is the first time I'm gonna be talking about speed, because in my opinion the other 3 units, it's not very important because they're still kind of slow as compared to this man right here. So like I said, his speed is 331, and then he has an ability that gives him a 50%, or not 50%, but 50 boost. So that's pretty good. 381 speed is not bad at all when you take into account the fact that you can also give this man a boost when you take him on like skill Kage Leagues or something. Obviously we're not looking into the boosts because as a unit himself, that's still some pretty good speed. So I personally think that this man right here shouldn't be slept on when it comes to the speed game. And also when it comes to sync skills, I didn't look into the sync skills for the other units because again, I feel like when it comes to this Itachi, his are very important. He nullifies immobilization, he nullifies jutsu ceiling and switch ceiling. So this man has what a lot of units have nowadays on their actual abilities. So this man does it without having the abilities, but you do have to sync with specific units. Like syncing with skill might have been a little bit more hard. But he also has a health boost, attack boost like we see, but he nullifies element affinity based damage, which is really good, and then the speed boost is very crucial in my opinion. So those aren't bad abilities for him, they're really not. It gives him a large amount of health. You can have like over to 40,000 something health, it seems like. And then when it comes to his jutsu, obviously they do actually more now. So his first jutsu is AoE. It has 80% chance of speed reduction for 5 seconds, which is pretty good, and it also nullifies any damage for 3 turns from ninjutsu and secret technique, which is very good. So this is similarly to what we saw back in the day with the Blazing Bash Madara, the skill one. This Itachi pretty much does that too. He has a chance of speed reduction, and then he can nullify everything. So he's really good for that, getting that damage and then being able to not take any damage. And then at the same time, he can nullify mobilization and has a speed boost. So if you pair those 3 things together, he's staying out on the field and you can't do anything to him. So that's what makes him really good. He also removes perfect dodge and barrier with his ultimate and ignores substitution. It's AoE again, and it has a 90% chance of immobilization. If you land his ult, yeah, you're most likely going to immobilize. With a 90% chance, yeah, unless they have an ability or a sync skill that nullifies it. So this Itachi's not bad, man. He's really not, but he's still slept on, and I think that's because he came out at a time where it was just like everybody was wanting more. They wanted more, but this Itachi I don't think is bad. I really don't. But compared to, again, some of the units we have up above, he just falls off. Next we have 5 Kage Kakashi, unfortunately, because this man, I love him. When he came out, he was really good. He was better than Sasuke, and he was a rival of Seijimo Naruto in a sense, because he was really good. And here's the thing. The abilities, they're not that great. They're the same as Sasuke, essentially, and again, that's not what makes this man great, though. I mean, obviously, he gets a lot more health, and that can be helpful. He can have, like, 52k health, which is obviously very good, especially back then for a Kage League unit. He had the most health, I think, from what I remember. And then the attack boost is 500, so that's not bad. He's a short-range unit, so he's already doing a lot. He could also ignore the damage reduction, so that was really good, and then chakra reduction was kind of a rip. I wish they would have gave him something else, but back then the Kage League units were a little bit more simple with their abilities. But what's really good about this Kakashi is that he can nullify mobilization, he can boost his attack even more, reduce his skill damage, which is really good. I feel like syncing with short range is a little bit harder nowadays to do, but you can still do it. Obviously, Final Valley Naruto, or Sasuke rather, is a body unit and a short range unit. You can sync with him. His field and buddy skill reduces the chance of receiving a mobilization and boosts critical rate, which is very good. So yeah, this man, he's got some good things going for him, but what's really important about this Kakashi are his jutsu. His first jutsu is AoE with a very large range. I have to say that his range on his jutsu was insane back then, and we've gotten more of it now, but back then, nah. So it's AoE, it has a 50% chance of switch sealing and or jutsu sealing, which is obviously very crazy because you have a 50-50 chance to switch seal and jutsu seal. He was the OG anniversary Blazing Bash units, but 50% is not a lot in my opinion. His ult does have 80% chance of switch sealing for 8 turns and chakra recovery sealing for 6 turns and jutsu sealing for 4 turns. So if you get his ult, it's over. It's over, but it can only hit 1 unit, but it's over most likely. So not only does this Kakashi mix high damage with ability or at status elements with his abilities giving him more damage and health, then yeah, you're gonna have some trouble for you. The only problem is it's a 50-50 chance, and the RNG is really what kills this man, because sometimes you literally won't land anything, whereas some other units have guaranteed things that they do. But there's Kakashi, and he's definitely should not be slept. Now, you hate to see it, but here up next we have Hinata Hyuga, the last. Man, I was so hyped for this Hinata. I can't even explain how hyped I was for her. And then to see that she wasn't gonna be that amazing, I was a little sad. I mean, she's good. She's really good. Don't get me wrong. She's kind of fast. She really is. She's got 337. That's not bad. But the thing that kills her is that her jutsu is single target, and really nowadays we need kind of AoE. If she would have been AoE, she would have been broken. She ignores substitution, and she also has a 40% chance of switch sealing and or chakra recovery sealing, and no matter what, she always steals chakra by 3. That's what makes her so amazing. But the problem with that is that a lot of units can either get chakra back so easily nowadays, or at the same time she can only hit 1 unit, and that's not the greatest thing. It's really not. Her ult is single target as well. It nullifies damage from anything. What's really amazing is her ult, if you can get it, but it's a 4-8 chakra. If you can get her ult, you can't be touched by a single thing except for slip damage, but slip damage isn't going to do anything. So that's the only thing that can hit you, which is really amazing. But because she's 4-8, you never see her being used to get that as well. But what really kills her for me is the fact that to get immobilization on her, you have to sync with all except for long range, and all the good units are long range. Minato, 5 Kage Minato I mean, and then the anniversary Blazing Bash units. If you have Tobirama, you could get around this, but because I don't, I have to use Minato on my team, and he's a long range, so I cannot take advantage of her mobilization, which is really unfortunate because that's what kills her the most. But she does have damage reduction as well, and then her buddy skills, it gives you a chance of dodging, which isn't bad, and then reduces skill and bravery, which was kind of interesting. But yeah, otherwise this Hinata's really good with her jutsu, but she starts to fall off. Again, everything above her is just so good that she falls off. She really does, but she's a really good unit, and I'm glad that I have her. Next up is Tsunade, and yeah, Tsunade Senju, man. I don't know what else to say. She is a really good unit, and the reason that she's above Hinata is because mostly of speed and the fact that she's 3-6 chakra with AoE. That's all I have to say. Her abilities are really good. Health boost, attack boost. She has nullifying of immobilization, and when you're on PvP, she recovers recovers allies' health when defeated. So she restores the health of all her allies by 15,000 when she's defeated, which is really good. Obviously, that's the type of healing that I think we should be getting. And when it comes to sync skills, they're not as good as Hinata's in my opinion, but they reduce bravery damage, reduce wisdom damage, and boost your attack, which is not bad. And their field skill reduces immobilization and jutsu sealing, so that is good. And then her buddy skill reduces bravery and wisdom. But what you're really here for is the fact that the Tsunade is such a speedster. She really is. She's incredibly fast. She has a total of 395 health, which is, or speed rather, and that's really insane. She's got a decent amount of health as well, going into like 58k, which is pretty good. So obviously she's a tank, but what makes her really amazing, like I said, is the fact that she's AoE and she's 3-6 chakra. So with her first jutsu, the range is so large that it's amazing. So the enemy receives increased damage from their non-effective element affinity, which isn't the best thing, but it's a lot of damage being done. It really is. And like I said, because of the fact that she's a short range, she's going to be doing so much damage, and the fact that it's AoE, she just stomps. I've lost so many games because Tsunade just flattens me with Katsuyu. And when it comes to her ult, it's 3-6 chakra, so you know she's going to be getting her ult pretty easily. It removes perfect dodge and barrier, which is really good. It is single target, but it ignores substitution and damage reduction as well, and it does a lot of damage. So this Tsunade is going to be bypassing all those things, and that's just what makes her so amazing. Not only is she really fast, she nullifies immobilization, she has incredible amounts of health, and she can hit AoE with her first jutsu, which does a lot of damage and makes them have increased damage. So altogether, this Tsunade is a really good damage dealer, but she's also more versatile than just that, which makes her so good, and I wish I had this Tsunade to be on. Now, I hate to see it, but we're coming into the last four, and the fourth one is going to be Naruto Sage Mode Naruto himself. I hate to do my man like this, because I loved this Sage Mode Naruto when he first came out, and he was just so amazing. He really was. I never ended up getting mine like maxed out, but he was still amazing, and that's not why I'm knocking him. His abilities are the best out of any of the early ones we see. He has health, he has damage, he has substitution ignoring, and he has immobilization nullification, which is really good. So not all 5 Kage units actually get that nowadays. To see that back then was really good. He has incredible amounts of health, incredible amounts of speed. 363 back then was insane for a free-to-play unit, and at the same time, that's not what makes him amazing. He also has the boosting of critical rate, which was good, but nowadays obviously it could be a lot better. But when it comes to his sync skills, he also, if you boost his attack, if you sync with mid-range, he would reduce body damage and restores health. But obviously having the immobilization and the ignore substitution is the best thing to have for him. But it's his jutsu. His jutsu are what make him so renowned. This man was the best back then. He was like a free-to-play version of Raged Obito. So he could send an enemy back, forces the back row to swap out with the front row, and switch seals them, and he would send them so far back. He really would, and it was just so good because then they're stuck. But the reason that this man's fallen off nowadays is because there's other units that can do that and better, but he's not that fast. He's really not. He has the same amount of speed as an anniversary unit, and the anniversary units are definitely better. So as a 5 Kage unit, he's good, but he's overshadowed by everything else. And then his ult, if you can get it, is really good. It has 70% chance of chakra recovery ceiling and reduces their chakra by 1. But really his first jutsu was what made him amazing. But because, like I said, it's overshadowed, he's definitely fallen off just because you can use so many better units to send someone back. And if you want to switch them out, we even have a Sage Mode Naruto now that has switch sealing. He doesn't bring out the other row, but he does switch seal them, and it's just like he's just not as good. If they buffed him in speed, then he would be better, but we might actually see him in this Kage League. For the third one, we're gonna have Gaara. Now, this could be a toss-up. The second and the third one, I'm really in between about, so this can really be up to you guys. Hashirama's very new, so I really don't know if he's as good as Gaara, but he really is. So that's why I'm putting Gaara here, because Gaara, he's an amazing unit. This 5 Kage unit is actually amazing. But I think what kills this man is the fact that he's not too quick. He has 344, which is not bad, but it's not even that. Just the other 2 units above him are so amazing, but this Gaara he's so good. He's so good. So he reduces their speed just by being next to the enemy, which is very helpful, and he boosts your speed in the back. So many people put this man in the first row on the bottom, and it really makes a difference for a speed tie. He's used in all the top teams, and that is mainly why. Let's be honest, most of the top teams are just using him for speed, but he's obviously more useful than just that. He gets health, he gets attack, he gets immobilization resistance, and he has nullifying knockback. So the immobilization resistance is all I need to hear. He has the sync skills, which lowers the rate of getting jutsu sealed, lowers the rate of getting chakra recovery sealed, and he can nullify attack weakening, which is not really helpful. But those first two ability or sync skills, you can tell the time when he came out, we needed counters to the anniversary units, and he did give that protection a little bit there. So it's not bad. But when you look at his ninjutsu, this is where it really gets fun. So like I said with Naruto, being able to switch out, yes, this man does not send them back, but he does switch them to the front and gives them switch sealing for 6 turns, and then you get damage reduction for 30% for 3 seconds. I can't tell you how many times that damage reduction has saved me from an ult from an anniversary unit, and it's just been so helpful. And then if you can get his ult for whatever reason, it ignores substitution, removes perfect dodge, and has a 100% chance of jutsu sealing for 6 seconds and or mobilization for 3 seconds. So yeah, this man is really good. That first jutsu is so good, and just being able to switch out 3 different units, it's what Naruto could do but with 1. So now he can do it with 3, but it does not send them back. But there's other units that can do that, so this guard definitely has his place at number 3. At number 2, we have Hashirama Senju, and this Hashirama is amazing. He's a very new unit, but they are getting a lot better and better over time. And this man, what is there not to say? He is amazing. He can have a max health of 40k, which is not that bad, and his strength can go up a little bit. I mean, the thing is, they made this man a vast range, so he's obviously not there for damage necessarily, but his speed is pretty insane as well. This man has 406 speed. That is a lot for a 5 Kage unit that is not someone crazy like Minato. So he's the second fastest 5 Kage unit, and on top of that, his body and field skill reduces body and skill elemental damage, which is okay. I get it, he's a heart type, so it makes sense. But his sync skills are really important as well. They lower the rate of getting jutsu sealed, which is obviously very important in nowadays meta, because jutsu sealing and immobilization are the biggest things. But when it comes to immobilization, he nullifies it with an ability. He gets that health boost, that attack boost, and he reduces damage. So he has 40% damage reduction. This man is a tank. He's a tank for sure, and he's so fast. He's a speedster and a tank. We usually see slow tanks. Nah, not this man. He's out there. So what makes this man so great is he is the free-to-play version of Anniversary Blazing Bash Sasuke. He's 3-6 chakra. His first jutsu is identical to Sasuke's in the fact that it's AoE, it has an 80% chance of jutsu sealing for 4 seconds, and immobilizations for 2 seconds. Sasuke can only hit for 1 second. So this unit is by far one of the best 5 Kage units just because he pairs up against one of the highest meta Blazing Bash units. That first jutsu is amazing. It really is. So being able to do that, it's so good. And then if you can't get his ult, it removes perfect dodge and barrier, ignores damage reduction, similarly to his first jutsu, and it does damage. It doesn't have any, you know, kind of effects on it, but that's not what he's meant to do. His first jutsu is the main thing. Because his ultimate is AoE, you know, it's just meant to do damage, so that's not bad. But when it comes to his first jutsu, man, it's so good. It's free to play Sasuke. It really is. And that's what makes this man at number 2, because he's just, yeah, he's a free to play Anniversary Blazing Bash unit that you got from just playing 5 Kage, so that's all you have to say. And at number 1, I don't think it's a surprise, we have Minato Namikaze. I love this unit. I love him to death. He's so amazing. Minato. I don't have to say anything else. This Minato is great. Not only is he the best 5 Kage unit, but he's just someone that's been around for so long. You see him in the top teams. I don't need to say anything else. Sync it with the long range, which includes the Blazing Bash Anniversary units. He nullifies immobilization. You can sync with Bravery, nullifies chakra recovery sealing, and if you sync with Hidden Leaf, you get an extra damage boost to your jutsu. This man is amazing for the very reason that he's the fastest 5 Kage unit in the game, and the fastest unit in the game aside from Tobirama, who literally has 1 extra speed on this man. He is insane. He's 429 speed, he has 35k health, he does have extra damage, and he gets chakra recovery when dealing direct attacks, which is really good because he's a 3-6 chakra. His field and buddy skill, he has a chance of attacking back, which is really good, and then his buddy skill gives him a critical rate boost. But his jutsu, we all know what Minato's capable of. his first jutsu sends a unit all the way back on the speed gauge, and then it also restores your chakra by 2. So this man is never running out of chakra. And it also gives them a 50% chance of speed reduction for 3 seconds. So they can also be extremely slow when catching back up. Yeah, this Minato, he's a staple. He's literally like the only protection I have against Tobirama. Because, like I said, 5-Kage League Gaara is used in the top teams, but that's because they put him underneath this Minato. Minato is used for speed, and he's used to have that advantage, and he's just so amazing. And if you get his ult, it ignores perfect dodge and barrier. Unfortunately, you know, his ult isn't as good as his first jutsu, but it can one-shot a lot of units as well, so it's worth using in certain times. But his first jutsu is obviously the main show. But yeah, that's Minato. He definitely deserves his spot at number 1. So that's gonna be it for the video. I hope you guys agree with this list. These 5-Kage units were really crazy over the period of 1 year, and I'm really excited to see what 2020 gives us. And yeah, I'm definitely gonna be rocking some of these when it comes to this upcoming Kage League. But yeah, I hope y'all enjoyed this. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.